This is Talking Tech with Alex Zaharov-Reutt on today's News Talk, TNT.
It's now time to have a chat. I'm just scrolling down here to our first guest, Shane Muller, the founder and CEO of SafeWatch at SafeWatch.care, an organization that is making a real impact in well-being. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Alex. Good to be here.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Now, Shane, for those who are unaware, and before we get into exactly what SafeWatch does, what is the problem that you are solving? When did you realize that this was a growing issue, prompting you to do something about it?
Absolutely. So essentially, the problem we're solving is the challenges around the world when it comes to mental wellness. I made a claim in 2019 that we want to make an impact and address this challenge that in 2019 was quite staggering. So I took a whole 12 months, all of 2020, to sit on the topic of why and why do this. And in that period, I did some research, Alex, and the first one was, when I looked at people struggling from mental wellness, one of the most common things when unfortunately someone was at the extreme end and they chose to suicide or actually take their life, which is a very dire situation, the most common phrase when the people here were interviewed or asked or questioned about it, one of the most common phrases uttered was, "I had no idea." Or a variation to that would be, "I didn't think it was that bad." Then doing the research even further, I found that most of these people had no lack of love or care. They simply missed the cues and they were not able to see the cues with their dearest friend, a work colleague for 10 years or what have you. That was the first part of the research. And the second part of the research was, when people ended up erring to the red spectrum of mental wellness, the two things we noticed in our research. The first one was isolation increased for that individual. And the second one, which may be a controversial topic on this session here, and I'd love to dig into it, the use of technology increased for those individuals. And in what I have researched, what I found is the technology use has been what I would call bad tech, not necessarily good tech. So that's really the why and what we're trying to solve, and that's the aspect and issue of mental wellness within our world, really.
So how does SafeWatch actually do its work then? And how is modern technology, including apps and blockchains, helping that happen? You mentioned the bad aspects of tech. Tech can be a bit like a drug, but what are the good aspects that you and SafeWatch are promoting and using?
Absolutely. So we founded what we're doing, Alex, on some research initially done in the UK. That the research shows that when people live in a community and they're on their recovery journey, they increase their speed by almost about 90%. That's part one. Part two, when they continue to remain in a community, their buoyancy increases. The chance of them dropping reduces. So taking that aspect, what we have adopted is a concept of what we call a village approach, where with the app, you're actually able to connect and build your personal, individual, private village. Each and every person can download the app and build their private village. Now, unlike most social media platforms where you would build your network or followership, and its success often is based on numbers of followers or friends. When it comes to SafeWatch and the concept of the village, it's not based on the quantity, but a very, very high level of quality. So within a village, you'd have people who know you, people who get you, people who can help you, people you're helping. You're essentially building a very private village. So what we're doing is we're using technology as a platform, to connect people who would be the closest to them. That's number one. Number two, SafeWatch will do what it would do best, and that is provide insights. Because remember the first point I mentioned, most people say, "I had no idea." And they could be best mates. And best mates have said, "I had no idea." So what SafeWatch would do is show insights to a best mate or show insights to a parent. This is actually how your mate or your child or whomever the person is, this is how they're really going. A, and B, SafeWatch would prompt the person to literally do something about it. So what we're doing with SafeWatch is we're not relying on technology to be this magical pill. What we're doing is we're A, looking at the insights, and B, providing prompts so the human being, so that the friends, the people with the relationship can get in their car at 11:45 at night, drive across town, and go be with their friend who actually is in a very, very dire situation, versus the alternative of probably scrolling through some technology or listening to a bot around gaining some help. So that's actually what we're doing. We're using technology to really help enhance the human element, A, and B, going back to one of the most powerful mechanisms that we've had in our time, and that is the concept of community, or the concept of a village. Because if we live, the research says, in a form of a community or village with relationship, we increase our chance of staying buoyant versus the isolation.
Yeah. So with the app, are people actually doing anything in the app? Are they getting any sort of therapy in the app? And if whether they are or they aren't, I mean, how do you, within the app, invite your friends? I mean, a lot of people who would have mental wellness issues wouldn't necessarily want their parents or colleagues to know. They might want this all to be private. So how are people getting the therapy, and how are you inviting other people to be part of that group, so they can never say, I didn't know that my friend was having mental issues, and I'm very sorry that he committed suicide, and if only I'd known.
Yeah, absolutely. So firstly, what we're doing is we're putting this within the individual's hands. So it's up to the individual to invite and build their village. That's part one. No one can barge into somebody's village. You can't use advertising, or you can't barge in to someone's village. The person literally has to share a QR code. I have to scan a QR code of yours and vice versa for us to connect. There's no other way to barge in. That's the first part. The second part is people within the village, because there's a lot of carers out there, families, friends, who can see someone actually struggling. They would go out and actually build a village around John Smith or Mary Jane or whomever the person is. And a key thing to remember is there is complete choice and discretion to the individual on who they invite. There are some people who would invite family. There are others, they'll never invite family. Unfortunately, and that's for them. There are some who may invite a work colleague. There's others who will never dream of inviting a work colleague. So it's very, very individualized, where people choose who they'll invite. That's the first point. The second point is, it's not about, as I mentioned before, the quantity. Because in our research, we found if someone has even one person in their village, there could be a celebrity that every one of us, you and I, and every one of our listeners are here right now are listening to. It could be a celebrity that the entire world knows. But if they've got one person in their village, that they can share what we call the lowlights of their life. Because social media and all the other platforms typically are there for the highlights of people's life, not the lowlights. And it is a challenge, because there's a big gap between that reality and where they really are. So even if they have one person, our research that shows that one person can make a difference, and that one person who's got their back will actually be able to see how they're tracking and actually engage with them. That's the first. That's that point. The other point is they're able to invite practitioners, be psychologists, psychiatrists, if the person is seeing one. Now, not everyone has the ability, luxury, affordability to see one. It is a challenge in different parts of the world. But if someone is seeing a mental health practitioner, they can invite that practitioner, and the practitioner will see exactly, like a stock ticker, exactly how they're going. And when they are in therapy sessions, be able to pinpoint very specifically their conversation and their dialogue, instead of wasting 5 to 20 minutes on that initial preamble.
So how long have you been in operation, and what has the response from the public been like?
Absolutely. So we have been in operation about 3 years now, Alex. And that 3 years has been saturated and inundated with research and development. We're very heavy in our research and development. And we only just launched the app just a few months ago, at the end of 2023. We didn't have a massive song and dance about it. but we had an amazing response to the launch. We've had amazing response, from mental health practitioners, and I'm talking different types, be it psychotherapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, etc. We've had very positive response from government agencies who represent the health sector. We've had amazing feedback from patients or people who've had lived experience, which has been tremendous. And we've had amazing response from what we call carers at large. Australia has over 2.5 million people who are carers, be it paid or unpaid, that provide some form of care. And it's tough being a carer because you feel often you're alone, and you carry or shoulder the burden of care often more than the person who's receiving the care. So the response has been positive. Granted, we haven't done a big launch around it.
So people are still seeing physical practitioners, but they have an online community that they can reach out to and who can keep an eye on them. It's something that is really, it's all about connecting people using technology, but they're still seeing physical people, right?
Absolutely. So our ethos is to enhance the human element of care. We're using technology, but we're using technology to enhance the human element of care. We've ensured that within the app, we've built SafeWatch so that it's non-addictive, which is counted in most technology, because technology has this sense of luring you in. It does two things. A, it lures you in, and B, it often numbs you. If you spend enough time, many people will have experienced that luring and numbing. And you don't tend to walk away after spending 3 or so hours on technology and going, life's brilliant. Typically doesn't happen. So we've ensured that it's very short, sharp use of the app, provide great insights, ensure we can foster the human element. And also going back to the practitioner, when they're seeing patient John, they can actually go, this is how John's feeling, and John has tracked himself over the last three weeks, but they're able to see everyone in their village on how they've observed John going as well, which actually provides a very rich camera angle lens, a figurative camera angle lens into the person that they're actually providing care for. And furthermore, that practitioner is able to enlist the village and use the village almost as a scaffolding to help John get on track and step out and do life, as opposed to having this reliance relationship on the practitioner.
So how do people get involved? How do they find out about it? And what is the cost to take part?
Absolutely. So right now, the fee we have for the service starts at $25 for practitioners, and in time it'll be around $9 for individuals and carers to use the application. It's freely available right now to download on the App Store and the Google Play Store. It is as simple as downloading, registering, and connecting with 2-3 people. That process should take around 2 minutes. It's literally that easy. You download, you register as a user or practitioner, and you start scanning QRs with people in your village, be it in person or on a video call, and build your village that way. And then once that essential part has been done, which takes a couple of minutes, then activities and feelings and all these other elements of care are able to be populated within the app.
Is any AI in use? I mean, we live in the age of generative AI. It was the big craze of 2023. It's about to get even bigger in 2024, and everyone's adding it. So how are you using AI to enhance what you're doing?
Absolutely. So we have an AI, we have a personality within the app that we call Ella. So Ella is there. Ella will keep being enhanced as the AI, that personality. However, we're taking a very, very slow and steady and cautious view, because we feel in our research it's only a matter of time before there's litigation towards AI businesses for providing information that led someone off the rails. And that would be very, very catastrophic, because we're dealing with people by nature who are not necessarily buoyant anyway. So it is a very high risk area, but we are looking to enhance Ella, because essentially Ella will be able to read all statistics and focus on what we call leading indicators. That's our objective. If you're able to provide leading indicator insights through Ella's AI, to a practitioner or to the individual themselves. That will help increase their awareness on how they're going. And we feel that will be a tremendous gain as opposed to looking at things in arrears or lagging indicators.
Now, we also spoke before we came on air about how security is extremely important with all the data. People get hacked all the time. And you've got a novel way to make sure that even if SafeWatch was ever hacked, no information, no private information could ever leak out. So what's the story there?
Absolutely. So we say to the market, Alex, that we protect your privacy, even including from us. Mm-hmm. Because our view is if people out there on the planet are going to use a mental wellness app and share the most vulnerable thoughts, journals, medication, mood swings, whatever it may be, it needs to be protected even from the company's internal staff. Mm. And I am, being a technology person and engineering from a background, there are not many apps in the marketplace where you can say the administrator, the global admin, or the developer has no access. I can only think of the closest thing I can think of, maybe Bitcoin, whereby you lose your access. You can't call the government, you can't call someone to get you in. You're on your own. Mm. So we've created something that we feel is relatively, I shouldn't say relatively, exceptionally disruptive within the marketplace, whereby when someone registers and creates that login, they're composing their own key without a master key visible at that point in time. They have their own key. We don't have a master key. And then with that, they can start sharing and they control within their app, within their fingers, literally who accesses what. So privacy is within their control. We don't have a backdoor in, be it from an admin or from a corporate point of view. If we're 100% acquired the data, there is no backdoor in to who's who using the application, which we've, from our research, is very disruptive within the medtech space. As a matter of fact, it's disruptive generally, whereby no global admin has access.
Now, before we sort of get to the closing questions, is there anything else that we need to know about SafeWatch that you'd like to let us know about?
Absolutely. So SafeWatch, I would say, is not an app that you would use just from a point whereby you want to have some therapy sessions now with a psychologist, you use it for a season, then you walk away. Because in our research, Alex, we found people can be hovering around an 8 for many, many years in their life on a scale of 1 to 10. And then some event can happen and they can drop to a 2, which is exceptionally risky for a person because something in their life changes. So we have found, and in our research, this concept of living in this care community, or this concept of having this village, or as we like to call it, help someone build what we call contextual villages based on the context of life. So if you're a professional, you have this contextual village. If you are a new mum, you have a different contextual village, et cetera, that changes with your life. Having this throughout your life and being able to, A, transparently let those who have got your back know where you're going, and B, being able to reach out to them immediately is absolutely crucial. Where else are we going? We will be looking to launch SafeWatch for the workplace later this year. And we're also going to be focusing on launching SafeWatch for youth. Essentially, one app to actually address various demographics, essentially helping bring people closer together and combat isolation, in essence, which is an absolute silent killer for every type of person.
And look, just before we go, is there a memory of your first computer that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely. So my first computer was a Sinclair ZX81 computer with, I think it only had about a K of RAM, and we had to add the 4K extra RAM. It was actually given to my sister. I gracefully helped her set it up and claimed it. And Alex, my fondest memory was at the age of 10, myself and my dad working away. I had no idea about accounting. He had no clue about computing, but together, through amazing collaboration, I was able to build a payroll program while I was at 10, going to school, for about 370 staff firm, and I'm told got paid very, very handsomely. So my first experience and my first step into entrepreneurship started at the age of 10 on that Sinclair ZX81.
Incredible. You were a tech entrepreneur from a very early age. Well, look, Shane Muller, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Shane is the founder and CEO of SafeWatch.care, and I do hope we can speak again in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Alex.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, before we go to a break, TNT is an independent global news talk station that does what others only say they do. Now, TNT is a live radio and TV broadcaster that simply tells the truth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No one in the world does what we do, crisscrossing the globe, providing credible news and opinion all day and all night.